Hi, it's Paul from Model Builder International. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of the future videos that come up. That'll be the build reviews, the out-of-the-box reviews, and also the competitions. We have the giveaways. Today we're going to flick through the pages of the latest Weathering magazine. This one is issue 8. It's all about the basics. Okay, so we'll have a quick flick through the pages of the current issue of the Weathering magazine. This is issue number 22, and this one is on basically back to basics. So I'll just turn through the pages. An introduction, an index, and basically this issue is it'd be ideal for somebody starting out in the hobby, or just if you want to sort of revisit the basic simple ways to do things. And there's good stuff in here actually. Starts off with cyanoacrylate or superglue. Starts with a bit of science. It was another one of those things that was sort of discovered by accident. How to apply, fillers and accelerators to use, gluing parts together. Interesting bit on filler. Personally, I've never actually used superglue as a filler. I've always used other things. But there's enough instruction here to give you a fair go at giving it a go, using the pigments or baking soda depending what it is you're filling. Gluing porous materials. Over the page, quick play on instructions on decals, how to make sure that they settle down nicely and you can still use the panel lines afterwards, put a wash in the panel lines. A lot of this stuff is, if you do competitions, you read the IPMS judges' instructions. They're all online, and a lot of that is just basically getting the basics right, which is covered a lot in this particular issue. Brushes, how to choose a good brush, what types of brush are best for modelling, and what makes a brush a good brush. And even types of brushes for different jobs. Natural paint brushes, synthetic brushes, and how to clean and care for your brushes as well. Over the page, and then this one goes a bit way. Joints and panel lines, how to fill those, again using cyanoacrylate for that, and adhesive. Back to the basics with airbrushing, different parts. Spray patterns, pressures to use. It gives you like a good generic sort of pressure settings and things like that to use, just that will probably work most of the time, and what corrections you need to make if you get some crazy effects happening with your spraying, and doing different things. Handy gauge showing you what sort of pressure you should be having. It's in kilograms per centimetre squared, but I think these days most gauges are in imperial and metric as well. Primers, use of primers. Metallic finishes, getting those right. Then down to basically starting off with some simple washes and filters, use of oils. This was an armoured car from the Falklands War. Chipping, basically what it looks like for real. Like one bit here says here is, if you're chipping wood, it always tends to run with the grain in long sort of strips. And how to do chipping, why some chipping looks right and some doesn't, the way you do it. Things to do, how to lay the chips out. And then a fair bit here on chipping. Fixing pigments, and here's an example of a pigment attached with 4 different mediums, from varnish through to pigment fixer, and what they look like in the long run. You end up with 4 different effects, 8 different effects actually, depending what you do to them. varnishes and the different effects they can have, depending what varnish you put on. Depends how oils and filters and such things, how they behave as well. So there's an examples there of all the differences in how they behave with the different varnishes. And painting with acrylics. And fine painting. And here's a couple of bits at the end. Basic steps of painting an aircraft model. A simple start here, work your way through the steps until you get to here, then you're finished. And then simple thing for a military vehicle. Start off at assembly, work your way through. Last thing you do is adding mud. So then a few postcards from the world, this from Zagreb. And then we are done. And in the next issue, we're going to talk about taking a die-cast model and weathering it to make it look lifelike. So I get my copies of these direct from the Ammo website, and it's cheapest to buy if you get a subscription. There's a reduction in price if you buy the subscriptions come out in series of 4. So that's about the cheapest place to get them.